You've probably guessed from the title that today's video will be a bit controversial. We're going to look at why I've stopped helping others in many circumstances and why you should consider doing the same. Now, before jumping to conclusions, this doesn't mean abandoning kindness or compassion or leaving a loved one in their time of need, but rather it's about establishing healthy boundaries and prioritizing our own well-being. Let's then see 7 reasons why we should all be a bit more selfish. Reason 1. Are you really sure they're asking for help? The easiest way to turn a friend into an enemy is to offer them advice they don't want to hear. When I offer someone my help, I genuinely want to help. But often, people aren't ready to accept my help. That's normal. Everything takes time to change, and most people don't want to change, and often, they don't even want our help. They're just looking for someone to vent to, someone who listens, but they don't have the real intention of doing anything concrete to solve their problems. As a rule, we shouldn't offer advice when people aren't ready to accept it. Otherwise, one day they might even reproach us and throw the wrong advice back in our face when it doesn't work for them. Reason 2. Dependency and abdication of responsibility. A few years ago, I lent a sum of money to an old friend in trouble. After all, we've known each other for years, and I knew he was going through a tough time. The problem arose when I realized that instead of using the money wisely to solve his problems, my friend squandered it, even posting photos of parties and vacations on social media, just so blatantly. Not content, he kept coming back to ask for another loan, expecting me to bail him out repeatedly, and getting angry when I refused. I felt trapped. On one hand, I was sorry not to help him, but on the other hand, I also felt a bit mocked and had no intention of fueling his irresponsibility. The lesson here is that by stepping back and allowing people to take responsibility for their own lives, we encourage them to grow and learn from their mistakes. This applies not just to money. Think about how a child who has been given everything unconditionally grows up. A child whose parents have satisfied every whim? Growing up, he will have quite a few problems when he realizes that if he wants something, he must earn it. The first time you give something to someone, they feel appreciation. You feel euphoria. The second time, they'll feel anticipation. You feel a sense of duty. The third time, they'll have a sense of expectation. You the need to fulfill a need. The fourth time, they feel it's their right to have what you're giving them. You feel it's essential to give it to not disappoint that person. The fifth time, they'll feel dependent. You, a sense of paternalism. And at this point, you're trapped. If you stop giving to that person, they'll consider you an enemy, a traitor. The moral of the story here is, be careful what you give and in what quantity. Reason 3. Time is limited. Our time is limited. Every minute we spend helping someone who doesn't deserve it is a minute we could be dedicating to ourselves or to helping someone who truly deserves it. If we have little time available, offering help to someone when we're not ready to receive it is a serious mistake. Be specific about your availability. Set limits for yourself so you don't feel overwhelmed by others' requests. It's nice to be a helpful person, but if it ends up with resentment or causes you problems later because you focused on doing a good deed for someone else, your resentment could cause further problems in the future for both you and the person you're trying to help. Helping people when you're not able or don't have the time does more harm than good. Offering help when you're not able to do a good job does more harm than good. It's like being poor and giving financial advice to someone else. They'll miss the opportunity to find better help. Your kindness can also harm people in some cases. One of the easiest ways to destroy a relationship is to offer help you can't provide, either due to lack of time or lack of skill. Sometimes, if you really care about the other person, the best thing you can do is not to help them. Reason 4. Emotional overload. At this point, to be honest, doesn't apply much to my situation. Let's say I was lucky to grow up in a family where I never had to endure continuous outbursts and complaints, also because I left home very young to move abroad. And the same for the friends I've had in my life. Maybe it's to my credit for choosing them well, maybe luck. However, this is not the case for everyone, and there are several videos where, reading your comments, I understood the difficult family situations many people have found or still find themselves in. For most people, it's natural to spend hours listening to friends and family and their problems, offering advice and support. But over time, I'm sure many of you have realized that constantly carrying others' problems on your shoulders can have a negative impact on your own mental health, especially since everyone has their own problems to deal with. These situations can become overwhelming and emotionally drain you. To better understand this point, let's see a practical example. Imagine having a friend who constantly turns to you with their relationship problems. You invest your time and emotional energy in helping them face every issue, offering useful advice and a listening ear. However, over time, you notice that their problems persist, and your friend continues to seek your support without taking tangible actions or seeking professional help. This begins to affect your well-being. You feel emotionally exhausted, unable to cope with their constant negativity. This emotional overload can lead to stress, anxiety, and even resentment. Recognizing our limits and taking a break when necessary can help preserve our emotional well-being and ensure we have the capacity to support others when it really matters. Reason 5. Self-neglect. It happens to many people to always, and in any case, put the needs of others above their own, thinking that this makes them good people, better people than others, who are selfish by nature. But by constantly focusing on others, they end up neglecting their own personal needs. It is crucial to prioritize self-care and ensure our happiness before helping others. The happier and stronger you are, the more you will be able to help those who truly deserve your help, without compromising your own happiness. To draw an analogy, think of the instructions you receive from flight attendants when you're on an airplane. In case of an emergency, it's important to put on your own mask before trying to help others, including children or people in need of assistance. By learning to prioritize our needs and establishing boundaries on how much to accept, we create space for self-care, personal growth, and a healthier balance in life. Reason 6. Boundaries. Growing up, I've discovered that not always saying yes when asked for a favor and learning instead to say no when necessary has established healthy boundaries. It's important to remember that setting limits doesn't make us selfish, but self-aware. It allows us to preserve our energy and invest it in areas that truly matter. Let's see an example. Imagine working in a high-pressure corporate environment where you're continually assigned extra responsibilities and tasks. Your colleagues and superiors are aware of your willingness to help others and often turn to you for assistance. As a result, your workload starts to pile up, and you find yourself sacrificing your own projects and priorities to please others. However, by establishing boundaries and learning to say no to tasks that don't align with your goals or values, you regain control of your time and energy. You become more efficient and focus on the tasks that really matter, leading to personal growth and improved overall performance. Clearly, this doesn't mean saying no every time a colleague asks for a favor, but doing so logically and selectively. Reason 7. Lack of appreciation. Don't get me wrong, many people appreciate and value the help they receive. However, there are situations where our efforts go unnoticed or are taken for granted. Now, we can tell ourselves that if we really care about a person, we help them gladly without wanting anything in return, which is very true. But when we're not even reciprocated with a thank you and our help is taken for granted, then that's not okay. Imagine having a friend who always asks for help when they need it, whether it's advice, support, or a favor. However, when you find yourself in trouble, they seem to disappear into thin air. This one-sided dynamic can make you feel unappreciated and undervalued. By reevaluating our relationships and focusing on those who reciprocate our support and appreciation, we create a more balanced and rewarding social circle. And so, we have seen 7 reasons why we should start paying a lot of attention to whom we help and under what circumstances. We should not feel guilty or consider ourselves bad people if we say no to needy people, especially if we can't afford it or if it would harm us. Our capacity and willingness to donate our time and energy are also limited by our human capacity. We are not gods who can always provide help whenever it is needed without consequences. If you liked this video, I recommend checking out the video titled 6 Harsh Truths That Will Upset You, But Will Make You a Better Person, that you can find on this channel. And please, subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell if you haven't done so yet. Thank you, and till next time.